Look up at the sky, ask it why are you all so afraid?
What's up everyone, my name is Andrew. If you don't know me, you should subscribe because like why not? You should also hit the notification bell down below to be notified every time I upload a new video. But anyway, today I am going to be doing my book review on Gods and Monsters by Shelby Mahurin. This video will be non-spoiler at the beginning, and then I will tell you before I go into spoilers, so don't worry about being spoiled. I will let you know before we get into that part of the video. But if you don't know, Gods and Monsters is the third and final book in the Serpent Dove trilogy. It is the finale. I'm really excited to do this book review because I've actually done a book review for Serpent Dove and Blood and Honey, and so of course I had to do it for Gods and Monsters, and I will link those other two book reviews down below. Whether or not you've heard of Gods and Monsters, I'm sure you've heard of Serpent Dove. It became really hyped and really popular very quickly, especially considering it is Shelby Mahurin's debut series. And although I can't tell you exactly what Gods and Monsters is about because spoilers, I can tell you that Serpent Dove is essentially about a witch and a witch hunter who have to get married and all the things that ensue from there. Now in Gods and Monsters, we are at the point where Lou has a big rivalry with her mother. Her mother wants her dead for a lot of witchy reasons, witch covens and all this stuff, and so her mom is still wanting her dead. It's pretty much a running theme in the books, and that is where we are finally getting into this final book, finally getting to see that closure, see how it plays out, see what happens and all that stuff. I ended up giving Gods and Monsters a 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was pretty good. It just came out at the end of July and I read it like in a week, maybe a little bit more, but it took me longer than expected because I think especially for the first book I really ate it up. I loved it, and then for the second book the same, and then the ending was a cliffhanger and it was just something that I really enjoyed. And then this one I found myself taking longer because the plot was nothing like what I thought it was gonna be. We got to a certain point and I was like, oh okay, we're gonna leave this place and move on with the plot, but then we stayed in that place and we stayed there on that one strand of the plot and just never grew and we never moved. And so that was my biggest problem, and the reason I didn't give it 5 stars was just I didn't exactly like the way the plot of this last one was executed. But I did like the characters. I did love Lou and Reed and all the characters. They were all very true to character. I think Shelby Mahurin is very talented at making characters, and they're funny, they have heart, they make me cry, all that stuff. So I really did enjoy that part of the book. Some things I did like were that we did get a big kind of final battle scene, which was cool to see Shelby Mahurin write that out. Although I did think that the ending, like the very climax of the book, was still not much for everything that it has been leading up to. And you can take that in a lot of different ways, but for me, I was kind of like, nah, okay, like that's it. But the epilogue of this book was really great and did make me cry, and you know, it was a bittersweet story. I think just because it's an ending, this book kind of was throwing mentions to the first and second book, so it was just all around bittersweet. But it's almost like from the very beginning Shelby was already writing it like an ending. Like, I don't know, I guess the whole time we were wrapping it up, and I guess that is what you're supposed to do. But it's just, if she was gonna do that, I would have liked less miscommunication amongst the characters, because this is the last time we get to be with them. This is the last time we get to see them, interact with them, watch how they interact with each other, get the first-hand, you know, thoughts and dialogue and all that stuff. But we, okay, a certain part of this was hugely miscommunication. That was in here so much. A huge part of the book, I can't go into spoilers until a little bit later, but if you know what I'm talking about, that was a huge part of the book. And I was so upset because this is the last time we're interacting with these characters, and part of the book, some of the characters, the main 2 characters, weren't themselves. So, you know, take that how you will, but there's that. That was the only things that I really had the big issues with, was the miscommunication, and then also with the ending being anticlimactic. But besides that, I really did think it was a solid ending. I mean, it's done, the story's over, I can tell, and that's great. I'm glad I read it. I do like Serpent Dove a lot. I think this one was my least favorite, and it was probably like Serpent Dove first, then Blood and Honey, and then Gods and Monsters, but it's okay, you know, I'm happy. like, it was fine. That's pretty much all I can say without getting into spoilers. So I only have a few more thoughts that I want to go into, so I'm gonna go ahead and say, if you don't want to be spoiled for Gods and Monsters, then leave now. But I am going to get into spoilers now and thoroughly discuss just a few things, because, you know, there wasn't much in here that kind of made me have something to say, but there are a few things. So if you don't want to be spoiled, bye, and we're gonna get into spoilers right now. Okay, hello, my spoiler people. How are we feeling now that we are on the other side of Gods and Monsters? That ending, like the whole book, it wasn't, you know, a go, go, go kind of thing. Okay, so we're with Lou and Reed, and Lou is fucking possessed, and I'm like mad because she's possessed, and I'm like, there's no way she's gonna be possessed this whole book. Like, I know she wasn't going to, but then nobody told me, and nobody told us that Lou was gonna come back and be Lou, and then Reed was gonna lose his memory. Oh my gosh, that I think was the biggest plot twist, the biggest thing that nobody saw coming. At least I didn't see that coming. I don't know what I expected, but I didn't expect that. And I was honestly, nobody else that I know is actually reading Gods and Monsters, so I have no one to talk about. So if you're like me and you freaked out, please tell me, because I was so, like, I can't. The reason I have a problem with that is kind of like I mentioned earlier, this is the last time we get to be with these characters. I would have loved a moment with Lou and Reed where they were themselves, like actually themselves, and we got to see that. But there wasn't enough time, I think, just because the way she plotted out the timing and everything, it wasn't gonna happen. And I realized that quickly, like halfway into the book, and I was like, okay, let me just, this is just how it's gonna be. So it was. Whenever we got to the waters, I forgot what it was called, like the magic waters, I thought, okay, this is interesting, but we're gonna be here, we're gonna do whatever, get Lou back, and then we're gonna go, find Morgane, and we're gonna kill her, something like along those lines. And so I shouldn't have said anything. In my head, I was like, cool, we're about to get in this waters, then we're gonna dip real quick, and then we're gonna move on with the plot. But no, we were hung up at the waters for so many chapters, so many times, Reed getting freaking losing his memory, and then him leaving for a chapter, coming back, and we're still at the waters, and I'm just like, what are we doing here? Can we just move on? And the plot is just, I don't know. I can't even tell you what was really going on, honestly. I was kind of bored throughout, and I don't, like, I like it. I like the story. I like the characters, so I can't imagine somebody who maybe just is reading to finish the series, but they don't even really care. Like, I just feel like a lot of people aren't gonna like it. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. The Goodreads, I think, a cumulative rating is like 4 stars so far, so it's pretty good. But I feel like if anybody's reading Gods and Monsters right now, it's because they've been a big fan and they're gonna like it. I give it 4 stars. I guess I'm one of those people. But yeah, so that was like, are you serious? I will say that getting the feels of Reed hating Lou all over again, she really said, let me do enemies to lovers again. Same exact thing from book 1, let me do it again. And I was like, we've been through this, and it was very repetitive, but it was funny. Like, I don't mind it. It was like a nod to the first book, a throwback to the first book. And I would have liked it to be less time. It was a lot of the book, and I'm like, yeah, we've seen this. I think I've seen this film before, and I didn't like the ending. It's kind of like what we were doing. But it wasn't bad. Like, it gave us some good moments. Like, the horse scene when Reed and Lou had to share a horse, and Reed is just like, I can't do it. God is trying to kill me. I can't with Lou's ass in front of me. I can't ride this horse. And that was just a classic Shelby. It was just really funny to me. The part whenever Coco and Lou were changing in the room, and Reed was like magically entranced, like basically dead to the world, and then freaking Celie comes in and she's like, oh my god, Lou's naked, and then she's like, I gotta catch myself on Reed's pants, and then just all of that stuff was so funny to me, and I was laughing out loud. I haven't laughed out loud at a book in a while, so I'm very grateful for that from Gods and Monsters. That was one of my favorite things that happened. That was one of my favorite things out of my whole reading experience of Gods and Monsters. But when we get to the ending, I kind of thought, you know, Reed's gonna come back, we're gonna get a very intimate scene with Lou and Reed, but no, we get the intimate scenes when Reed is not exactly fully himself still, but I did like how, especially when they were on that ship, finally leaving the waters and they're below decks, and Lou magically shuts out everybody else so they can't hear them. And the way that Shelby was writing the intimacy, it was very purposeful, and it was basically a way for Reed to be jogging his memory and realizing and remembering how close he feels to Lou and how much he is attracted to her, and that ultimately meant how much he loved her, and like that if he still felt that way when he doesn't even remember her, he's sorting it out, why he's so attracted to her. So I did like that. I think it was a nice touch. The part with the sticky bun, whenever there was just something moving in Reed's bag and it was a rat eating that sticky bun that he had saved for her, that he bought for her when she was not possessed anymore, and then they fought over it, that was fucking hilarious. Like, she was like, is that a sticky bun? And he's like, if it is, it's not yours, it's mine. He's like, I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure I bought that and it's mine. And she's like, well, if you bought it, you probably bought it for me. And he's like, I don't even know you, it's my sticky bun. And then Coco was just like, we're not doing this, children. We're not fighting over sticky bun that a rat just ate. And I was like, exactly, somebody get these kids under control. But I really did like the humor and the way that even though it was very dire and serious situations, and they were all dealing with the grief from Ansel, it was still funny and it was still lighthearted. That was cool. So the final thing I have to say, if you stuck around till this part, thank you. I am so happy because I've actually filmed a review for all 3 of the books since I read the first one when it came out. I think that's really cool. I don't know. But yeah, so the last thing I want to say is the epilogue. I thought it was a very interesting and smart choice to have it be in Ansel's point of view, because we get to see everyone and everything from an outside narrator's point of view, and it was really cool. I like when authors kind of try to tackle what happens after people die, and you can just see how different authors write it and different people handle it. And so I liked that Ansel in his way found peace and saw his mother and just all of that, and he got to see everyone happy, and we get to see with this overall assurance that Lou and Reed are going to be happy and that everyone is at peace. And I was like, okay, that's a good happy ending. It was nice. They're married officially. It was nice. It was lovely. I really did enjoy that. It left me feeling very hopeful, and I mean, that's all you can want from a series finale, is to feel happy at the end, and I did feel that. Overall, I expected a little bit more from the plot, a little bit more epicness. I don't really know how to explain what I mean by that, but I just did. It's just how I feel. So, but I did still like it. 4 stars, and I'm glad that I got to read the ending of Lou and Reed's journey, and I'll definitely miss them. But you know, we can always go back to the beginning. We can always go back and read when they fell in love and all that stuff. But that's all I have to say. If there's any scenes that you particularly liked, let me know in the comments, but maybe say like spoilers so nobody else gets spoiled. But yeah, that's all I have to say. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
Forget about all types of things. You remind me of the Arizona thunder. Satisfy the times and make you wonder about the bigger picture in your life. The simple times in the